we have a whole world based on this. Two things. Save up. There's a good time coming. Put your money aside. Invest it. Secondly, which is somewhat contradictory, happiness consists in the possession of things. A lot of people, when they feel inadequate, bored, unfulfilled, try to get rid of this sensation by going shopping. A lot of people spend all their daytime shopping. That's the thing to do. You go out and shop. There are women galore who go into San Francisco every day just to shop and come back loaded with all kinds of things. But these things are not true material possessions for at least two reasons. Number one, most of them aren't well made. Number two, you can't use that many things. You can store them, you can put them away. You can show your friends that you've got this and that. But you can't live in 6 houses at once. You can't ride more than 2 horses at a time. Unless you're doing some sort of a circus act. No? You can't drive more than 1 car at a time. So we tend to become absolutely overloaded with possessions and have the greatest difficulty, therefore, in moving ourselves around. Because every time we move, we have to carry all the stuff with us. What we call physical reality, the material world, is much closer to what would be meant by spiritual than anything abstract is. And but the thing is that when we form in our minds, the average person who talks about the physical world, he has a concept of the physical world, which is what really should be referred to as materiality when one uses that word in a put-down way. If, for example, we talk about, I could even say this to theologians and they would eventually understand. If we talk about the evils of the flesh, the word the flesh doesn't mean the body in the sense of this. The flesh, as something evil, represents a conception of the body as something to be exploited in order to satisfy one's spiritual emptiness. And thus too, when we speak of materialism, we aren't really talking about materialism. We're talking about an abstract conception of the value of the material world. Real materialism would of course be the love of material, which is something quite different from materialism as one sees it in practice. So it's very important to realize that when we say the physical world and we talk about matter as something which is antithetical to the spiritual, you are not talking about this. Because all this doesn't have those kind of qualities that we would call materiality as against the spiritual. If you really get in touch with your senses, with the so-called physical world, you're in for many surprises. First of all, if you go back to the point I made, that there really is only the present. you will see that what we call this physical world is not something expanded in time, stretched out over time. It is, and it is not material also in the sense of being composed of stuff. You see, one of our problems in the West is we think about the relationship of the spiritual to the physical by analogy with form and matter, or rather with clay as matter and the form as the pot made out of the clay. And therefore we've never been able to put the two together, because our conception of matter as something essentially like clay, a sort of primordial stuff, this has no intelligence, nor does it possess energy. Therefore, when you think of the world as a sort of cooperation or mixture of form and matter, you have therefore to invoke an external agency to inform matter and to bring it into shape, to order it, and to produce art.